Welcome to the Empower Show. My name is May Konori, and in this show, we're going to be talking about financial literacy, in particularly life insurance, retirement planning, and debt solution. But before we get into that, I'm going to tell you about myself and who I am, where I come from, and how did I end up in this industry. Let's talk about it. As you may hear it in my accent, I come from Iran. It's not Iran, it's Iran. And I moved here when I was 14 years old. As an immigrant, there's a lot of pressure on doing better than your family because your family sacrificed so much to make sure that you get the opportunities that we have in America. So I thought that I could be a lawyer, a dentist, engineer, and I really wanted to be a dentist because those are the accepted profession in my culture besides running your own business. And I didn't know how to run a business, so I ended up wanting to study for dentistry. After getting into a few classes like chemistry and physics, I very soon realized that this is not the industry that I can end up being successful in because I could not grasp the information. Therefore, I decided to do something different, but I didn't know what I wanted to get into. I wanted to be a boss. I knew I wanted to run a business. I just didn't know the right people, the money, what industry to get into, what kind of blueprint do I need to have to be able to have a successful business. However, one of my friends asked me one question. He's like, what do you see yourself doing and dressing as on a day-to-day basis? And I remember thinking, I want to be dressing up. I want to be wearing heels. I want to be, in a suit looking good like a boss. And that's when he told me you need to get into HR. And I actually listened to him. I ended up going to Cal State Long Beach and minoring in business. At that point, it was too much studying for me to take it on as a major. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna minor in this. And I ended up graduating with a business degree as a minor and a sociology, women's studies as a major. So I ended up graduating and moved back to San Diego. And guess what? I had no job for a year. I kept applying for different companies, but I continued to get turned down simply because I had no work experience. Some of you guys may be watching this and may be feeling the pain that I used to have. And believe me, it's tough, but you got to build your relationships to get through it. Because I had built my relationship with my high school teacher. And I remember her reaching out after seeing a year anniversary of my graduation pictures. And she congratulated me on Facebook. And she said that she was no longer teaching. And she was laid off due to the pink slips in 2011 in California, where a lot of teachers were getting laid off. But it wasn't a bad situation for her. She was actually getting trained by her mom to become a hospice consultant, and they were running a business together. And she referred me to a very startup hospice. She told me that I would be learning a lot. I would get to learn a lot about hospice, and I get to be one of the top hires to where I potentially could get equity, a higher raise later on. But initial pay was going to be minimum wage. And believe me, it was a hard pill to swallow because I went to school all these years, and when you go to school, they tell you like you're gonna be, if you have this degree, you may potentially make 50, 60, 70,000 a year, and that wasn't a case for me, unfortunately. But I'll tell you this, I definitely learned a lot getting involved in a startup company. I learned a lot about inside and outside of what it takes to run a hospice, how do you get to hire people, what kind of licenses do you need to have to run a hospital. So I could pretty much consult for a hospice if I want to. However, that's not a route I got into. So 3 years into the HR position, I continued not liking it, not because it wasn't the job, maybe it was, but more for me, it was the environment, because I'm a very outgoing person, and at that time I was the only hire besides the nurses that would just come and go in between their patients. So none of them would be physically in the office completely with me on a day-to-day basis. So I was always in a room without any window, and I just kept thinking I can continue doing this for the rest of my life. I mean, the job was exciting because I would learn a lot, but the environment I didn't like much. So I continued getting myself different interviews in HR, and I wasn't able to land any other jobs, fortunately, because that made me want to get into financial services. So one day my family from Orange County visited us, and my aunt told me that I should congratulate my cousin who just got her license in the insurance industry. And keep in mind at this time, besides the fact that I was looking for other HR jobs, I was thinking about going back to Domino's as a delivery person, because that's what I did in college and it helped me make a lot of money because of the tips. So I was determined to get back into delivering pizzas. And my aunt told me to congratulate my cousin, and I'm like, you know what? My cousin's 19. How did she get involved in the insurance industry? I was 26 years old at the time. And I remember just be like, you know what? I'm just going to ask her. So I ended up asking, hey, what is this business that you got into? How'd you get your license? And she ended up telling me everything from the licensing, the cost of it, how long she's been doing it, how successful she's been at it. And I was sold. Not because I'm a math person. That's not the case. I was sold because I seen my 19-year-old cousin who has no passion about math get involved in something that we think finance is math, right? And being very successful at it in a very short period of time, but being super excited about it. I was very impressed that a 19-year-old can get licensed in financial services, and I'm competitive. So I kept thinking, if she can do it, I can do it too. So that's how I ended up getting my license in the insurance industry. Within a year and a half, a few months after, I was fully able to replace my minimum wage income that I was making, which was really good because I have no experience in business, and I didn't even like sales at a time because I thought I have to do a lot of convincing, and I didn't understand the concept of sales. So it was a lot of learning for me in the beginning. However, I kept listening to my mentors, being coachable, and just listening to the ways and following the blueprint that they've given me. And I was able to replace my income within a year and a half and fully quit the HR job, which was a big jump for me. Today, I run an agency in San Diego, California, and nationwide because of our company, I'm able to operate in 50 states, including Puerto Rico, with the license that I got in California. I'm able to transfer that license into any states, and I'm building a team nationwide as well, helping many other people to get their license and experience the freedom that I experienced with this industry. Coming from hospice background and getting involved in the insurance industry, I could connect it to because of bankruptcies that I've seen in medical field. So in hospice care, because of the expenses, a lot of people end up going bankrupt due to medical bills, unfortunately. So I was very sad to see that, and so many clients going through that. So coming into the financial services in the insurance industry specifically, I learned how you can use your life insurance while you're living, which was something I had never heard of before. And that completely changed my perspective about this industry and made me want to get into it more. I will be sharing more of that in the future episodes. We'll be talking about term life insurance, living benefits, debt solution, permanent life insurance like whole life, index universal life, and the benefit of growing your money within an insurance product tax-free. I'll be talking about 401k rollovers, the 3 ways you can grow your money, annuities, and how they can turn your money into a stream of income. And obviously throughout the episodes, I'll be talking about debt solution. That's also one of the services that we offer. Debt solution is phenomenal because you get to free up cash flow, so that way you can do more things with your money. Thank you for joining me today for the first episode of the Empower Show, and I'm excited to share with you more about what I'm doing in a following episode that will come.